The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, this is Josh Ellsworth with Stahl's CAD-CUT Direct, and thanks for logging on to part 2 of our Unlocking the Potential of the Ultimate Heat Transfer Material, CAD-CUT Premium Plus. For those of you that attended the first session, you got a first-hand look at Premium Plus, some of the features, and we stepped down through the benefits it poses to your customers and also the benefits it poses to you in production. And you came back because I promised you a copy of the world's best heat transfer material calculator, which you will receive by email if you attended either of these sessions. Today we're going to talk more about unlocking the potential of Premium Plus and specifically what it means to profitability in your business. In order to do that, we're going to step down through a new heat transfer material calculator that can benefit you whether you use this particular heat transfer material or another one. And we'll go down through all the factors that go into the cost of creating a heat-applied film design and come up with a selling price and a strategy for you to quickly and easily price jobs in your business and understand how much profit you're actually making. So those are some of the things to look forward to. As always with the Great Garment Graphics seminar or webinar, we open it up for questions. So you'll see a little question box in the GoToMeeting screen. If you've been on one of my sessions before, you know I try to answer questions kind of as we go through the presentation, so I'll stop it several times and try to catch up and get to everybody's question. With this sort of webinar where we're dealing with numbers and a lot of calculations, I know there's going to be a lot of questions. I foresee that I won't be able to get to all of them, but I will try. For those that don't get answered, one of two things. We'll try to answer them in a blog post following the webinar on greatgarmentgraphics.com, or possibly you just don't understand something quite clearly. This will be recorded and posted on Great Garment Graphics, available for viewing in our archive sometime tomorrow morning. So without further ado, we'll get started. So today's webinar, what are we going to talk about? This is the highlights. First, we're going to do a quick recap of the features of Premium Plus. We'll go through a bullet point list on the next slide and also look at a quick video of the features, which is available for viewing on YouTube if you just type in CAD-CUT Premium Plus into the search bar. Also, we're going to compare the cost of Premium Plus to other heat-applied films. We're going to compare freight and delivery charges, because that's all part of calculating landed costs. We're going to compare the labor costs of producing a design or a couple different designs with this product versus others. I'm going to share some feedback from a survey that we launched about a month ago to gather insight into average weeding times in different shops and average heat application times in different shops that are utilizing different heat-applied films. And also we're going to share some time studies from our own little analysis of Premium Plus on weeding and production times. Of course, we'll go through the price or the cost calculator throughout the presentation. And then after we look at how this fits in with other heat-applied films and what you're doing today, we know a lot of shops out there not only do heat press work, but you also do screen printing, or almost every good shop will have the capability to do heat press work and screen printing, whether you contract it out or do it in-house. So we're going to talk about how this new price, this new look, this new feel in heat-applied film, how it fits in now with screen printing, because those things have changed a little bit from where they used to be about 7 days ago with the price of heat-applied film. So let's go back through some of the features. These are the highlights for those that missed the session or those that just want to rehash the features. The number one highlight of the material for your customers is that it's a soft matte finish. People are raving about the soft finish. 85 to 100 microns thick, depending on color. It also comes in 40 colors. So there's a lot of different choices for your customers or for you to stock, including university colors, fashion colors, neons, all at one price. This particular product, one of the main features is the stretchability. Undoubtedly, as you start using this material, it's going to be different than any other material you've ever cut on your vinyl cutter because of the stretch factor. So you are going to have to spend a little bit of time dialing in the settings accurately to get clean cuts on corners. We've had some feedback on that already, so I want you to make sure that you have a A decent blade in the cutter. Doesn't have to be brand new, but it has to be in pretty good shape, not one you've had in the cutter for a year. That blade needs to only be sticking out half of a credit card's thickness. No more than that is needed. The downforce on a roll-in cutter is needed somewhere between 100 grams and 140 grams, depending on the sharpness of the blade. But don't be afraid to give it more downforce if it's not cutting cleanly on corners. Also, the cutting strip on your cutter. You need to make sure there's not grooves in the cutting strip that's causing the material to push down as the blade's cutting it in certain areas and not giving you accurate cuts. So these are some of the things, but the stretchability is a great factor. Yes, you can use a 37-degree blade instead of a 45. So the Mamaki cutters use 37-degree blades, not 45s, but you want the lower angle blade that's available for your cutter. You don't need the high angle one. So super stretchable, also durable, lab certified for 50 washes, so it's a great product. Flexible temperature range, starts at 300 degrees, and we're in the process of certifying it from 280 to 350, which allows you flexibility for heat-sensitive fabrics or for running it at the same temperature that your press is already at for your screen-printed transfers in your shop. Also, easiest to weed, we'll prove that to you. Fast application, takes only 8 seconds. Stackable, meaning pre-cut designs one on another without sticking to you, and lead and phthalate free, so it's safe for kids apparel, meaning it's CPSA certified. So that's the fast track through the features. I don't want to spend a ton of time there because you can watch the video online, but I am going to show you the video really quickly just to go through some of these features. The first thing this video is going to show you is just some of the different designs that we've created with Premium Plus and the color selection. We're going to bounce through the university colors, application to bags and t-shirts. Here's the soft feel and the stretchability. You have to get this in your hands to really understand the stretchability, but this is on a compression garment. So it's very good on technical fabrics with stretch and rebound. If this is choppy, please go take the time to view it online along with the audio. Reduce weeding times of up to 50%. You can see here where I've cut the alphabet in 1/8 inch text. So those of you that are having a difficult cutting, you just want to make sure to dial in those settings. You should be able to do detail cutting with this. It's just a little different, so you need to take the time to dial it in. And if you have questions, call us. Stackable. Here I'm stacking it to work orders, and it separates. Here I'm going to show you the fast application. 300 degrees, 8 seconds. And this particular one, I'm going to peel it warm. You can peel it warm to cool, so that's up to you. But it only takes one step, so you could throw it to the side and peel them all later if you like. This is just showing a little bit of one of our manufacturing facilities and the color range we have on hand. And we'll go through this more, but this is showing you that this product comes 20 inches wide, whereas most source currently at 15 inches wide. And so we're going to show you cost differences per square foot when you do the math of 30 to 40% savings. We walked through that the other day. Same price on neons and metallics, no upcharge. And then here I'm giving you the sales pitch and telling you to buy it, and we guarantee the performance. If you don't like the product, you know what? We send it back. Your first order when you try it out, if you don't like the product, give us a call, and you can send it back for a full refund. That's our guarantee on the product. So I just thought it was important to show some footage there since we didn't get a chance to show that video yesterday. So let's dive into calculating costs, comparing costs on material. For the gentleman in that school, we'll be doing a 3-color design setup. We'll show you how the calculator is capable of calculating multiple colors, absolutely. So average cost of material. Here is the price model on Premium Plus. This is the prices shown are our exclusive online pricing, which it is a 15% discount when you purchase it online. This particular pricing that you see here on the left-hand side does not calculate in a customer loyalty discount, which ranges from 3 to 6% with stalls, depending on your order volume. Now, you can read more about that on our website, but we're just going to go with the basic list price and pretend like there's no trade discount for our calculations here. And you can see a 20-inch by 5-yard roll is $31, a 10-yard roll is $57, $137, all the way down. So basically what we've done is we've taken all of these costs from a 5-yard up to a 50-yard roll for the roll prices, and we've added them all together. Then we took that number, we wrote it down on the side, and we added up all the yardage lengths. So you can see, 50 plus 25 plus 10 plus 5 equals 90 yards. We took the total dollar figure of those rolls and divided by the total yards. And what we're trying to come up with is an average price per yard. This is for what we're going to plug into the cost calculator. That way we don't have to punch in the cost per yard every single time you try to quote a job. So for Premium Plus, the average cost per yard is $5.41. Of course, if you never order a 50-yard roll, if you only order in 10-yard rolls, it'll be pretty easy to figure out your average cost per yard being $5.74 if you order all 10-yard rolls. But you want to come up with your average cost per yard. This is going to be important to punch into the calculator. I'll show you in a minute. If you look at Thermoflex Plus, we did the same thing. This is just another brand on the market that is a competitive product. We've added up the totals, and we came up with an average cost per yard. These prices are taken from 4 or 5 different supply houses around the country that sell this product. Likewise, another product out on the market is Hotmark 70. Did the same math, added this up, added the yard. So regardless, whatever heat-applied film material you source today, in order to utilize the calculator effectively, you need to come up with the average price that you pay per yard. And right now we're talking just about cost of material. So in addition to cost of material, if you're playing along at home, what else goes into landed cost? Everybody's thinking about it, no typing in responses. I guess I didn't ask you. The other thing that goes into landed cost of materials, not only the cost per yard, but the freight. That's an important factor. So let's remember that $5.41 number. Let's remember the Thermoflex Plus at $6.81 and the Hotmark at $6.19. I got them written down beside me here, so we'll have them and won't have to reference it back. If I go to the next slide, it explains what I just told you. We're adding up the yardage across several orders, adding up the freight for the same order. So just like we figured out an average cost per yard, we need to figure out an average cost of freight per yard. So what you should do is you should go back to maybe your last 5 invoices or your last 10 invoices of the heat-applied film that you buy, add up the yardage totals on those orders to get down your ordering pattern. So let's say your last order was 4 10-yard rolls. So we'd add up 40 yards, and then we'd add up the freight amount for that order. Let's say it was $10 to ship that 40 yards. When I go to do the math calculation, I'm going to take my, let me figure out, $10 divided by 40 yards, and I can see that I have an average cost of 25 cents per yard for freight. Now, of course, that's just one single order. What I'd like you to do is add up a history of orders to come up with your average freight cost per yard, because that's going to add to our average material cost per yard so we can get a landed cost. So you see here, yardage divided by freight equals average freight per yard. Of course, if you get free shipping on your material, you're not going to add any freight costs. You just need to get the average cost per yard. Don't worry about the freight at all. However, what I do want to say is, don't be fooled. Even if companies give you free shipping on orders or over a certain amount of an order, make sure you take that into your calculation to get a landed cost per yard and do a fair comparison. Don't just assume, because the freight's free, that you're going to be paying less on material. For instance, what I'd like to do is a sample exercise real quick on CAD-CUT Premium Plus and what it would cost in freight. We don't have a free freight promotion on materials here at Stalls. But what we do have is a freight promo that allows you to get it quicker. So here's what I'm going to go with. Let's go to our website, and let's just calculate freight on a sample shipment. So I go to CAD-CUT Direct. I'm going to go to the Premium Plus product. I'm going to click on Buy Now. And it's going to take you to our ordering wizard. You can see here It has all the colors, and you can type in what you want to buy. So let's say I want to do a 10-yard roll of white, 10 of black, 10 of red, 10 of royal. Let's add them all to my cart. Here I see my 15% online discount took effect. So it took my $67.50 price for the 10-yard roll, took the 15% off, and that's where I got my $57.38 price per roll. And then I click to add those to the cart. I did this earlier to double check myself, so I have 2 rolls of each in the cart. So I'm going to take us back down to 1 roll here and update the cart real quick. So I just want to show you the sample for 4 10-yard rolls. Okay, and then I'm going to click the checkout button. You can see my trade discounts popping up here too. This sample account that I've set up has a 3% trade discount, so your trade discount will come right off the total in addition to the online discount. So here I've set up a sample of one of our webinar attendees, Jane, that attends a lot of the webinars, and just because I wanted to show a far ship point from our Michigan location. So I chose Texas just to show you a worst case scenario on freight per yard. So Houston, Texas, I punched in a zip code. I'm just going to type in a fake PO number, and I'm going to continue. 15% discount is planned to be indefinite. So it's we don't have any plans to change it. The online discount for all of our products, which we launched over a year ago, they've all stayed the same. None of them have changed. So you see all the total, and you see our shipping choices. Here's what I want to show you. We talked about it yesterday, but you can see the UPS ground rate on this is $6.77. But that's going to take a little while to get to Texas from Michigan. So our new program, regardless of where you're located in the U.S., you can upgrade to UPS second-day air. And Jane can have this on Monday. Today's Thursday, so 2-day shipping would put it there Monday. And look, it's the same exact price as ground, $6.77 for that shipment. That's a ridiculously low freight cost for 4 10-yard rolls, in my opinion. I did some studies versus other companies, and we're about half of the price in shipping. So let's take that number, $6.77, and divide it by the 40 yards to figure out what we actually have in average freight. Remember, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to come up with the total yards divided by freight is our average freight cost. So if I take $6.77 divided by 40, it's going to give me 17 cents a yard that I'm going to punch on top of Premium Plus's number to get freight costs. So if I go to the next slide, you can see what I'm aiming for this whole time is average landed costs. So the average landed cost is the average cost per yard. For Premium Plus, it was $5.41. The average freight per yard, which we just figured out in Jane's case, would have been 17 cents, and that equals an average landed cost. So cost landed on this product that we're going to punch into our calculator is $5.58. So let me go to the cost calculator, and we're going to enter all of our costs. So this is your first look at the cost calculator. You can see I've preset it up for Premium Plus. You don't get an option to change this field. It's always going to be on the cost calculator you receive. That way we're showing you Premium Plus and the savings for your company. So we already have the $5.58 in there, the roll width of 20 inches. Now if your average freight cost is different, of course you can set all of these custom names up. So you have the ability to calculate costs for up to 5 products simultaneously. So step 1, this is your business info tab on the cost calculator you'll receive. So let's call product name 1. Let's call it Thermoflex Plus, because that's what we're going to compare. Hopefully, if you're just buying from us, you won't have this name on the list. You'll have products like our Glitter Flake, our Thermofilm, CAD-CUT Premium Plus, Glow in the Dark. You'll have like 5 or 6 products, different effects that you source, so you can use one calculator without having to change the numbers constantly to calculate out your costs. But for this exercise, I am going to type in the hot mark material and the Thermoflex Plus. Assuming free shipping, that you're getting free shipping on those products, Thermoflex Plus from our initial exercise came to $6.81. The average landed cost per yard, whereas Hotmark came up to $6.19. You can see Premium Plus is $558 with the freight added on, even though we don't do free shipping. Then you got to put in your roll width, 15 inches for these two that we calculated. And then ours is 20 inches. So I'm not going to fill in these other 3 fields right now, but you'd have the option to add up to 5 custom products to this calculator. Okay, we're going to come back. Remember that. The next thing we need to do from the business info standpoint is we need to complete some different fields here like overhead percentage, markup percentage, etc. This stuff, it's intended that you'll complete this once, this tab once, and then you'll save it on your computer under whatever name you want. Now, every time you need to quote out a cost, you would open this file up and you would go straight to the cost calculator tab. You would never have to go to the business info tab unless you change suppliers of material or cost change, or for some reason your business strategy changes with your hourly rates or your markup percentages. So basically program this tab once, you follow step 1, step 2, step 3, and then you're done with it. So in order to fill out these fields, I need your feedback. I have already feedback on labor rates, but I want to launch a poll here to the audience to fill out these fields. So the first is overhead percentage. What overhead percentage do you charge? And let me pick that poll out here. What is your overhead percentage? And I'm going to launch that poll. So the choices are no idea, you add 10% or less, between 11 and 19%, or 20% or more overhead. And this will vary based on, the size shop you have, the consulting costs that you have, or any outside marketing costs that aren't direct costs. But if you have no idea, no worries. You see on the thing as you're filling out the poll here, there's a third tab on the worksheet that says Helpful Info. There's a link to an article that teaches you how to calculate overhead percentage. We don't have time to go through that calculation today, but it's a very good article. There's a link to it from a school in Missouri, a business school, that teaches you how to calculate overhead percentage for your shop that will allow you to get an overhead in there. So it looks like 72% voted. The other 28% are asleep. And let's close this poll. And I'm going to share the results. So I'm going to take the most popular response here to punch in for this example. So 20% of you are between 11 and 19% for your overhead. So I'm going to go right in between those, and I'm going to punch in a 15% as our overhead number. So our overhead percentage is 15%. Now, the next question that I'm going to ask you is, we have 2 markups here, so you're going to be able to calculate 2 prices. You're going to be able to calculate a pricing to the customer if they order a group order, and you're also going to be able to quote a retail order, so maybe like a really low quantity. So the first question is, what is the markup percentage that you use in your shop for group orders? And before I give you my opinion, I'm going to launch that poll. What is your markup for group orders? And you can see the choices are 150%, 200%, 250, 300 or more. If you're somewhere around those, just pick whatever one applies. Okay, keep voting. 60% of the votes are in. Give you a few more seconds. All right, looks like we hit a standstill, so let me close the poll here and share the results. So 61% of you are basically doing 150% markup for group orders. 30% are a 200% markup. So for this exercise, I'm going to enter 150 for group orders. Of course, you'll put in whatever it is for your shop. So 150. Now I'm going to launch the poll. Of course, the next question is, if 150 is your group order markup percentage, of course the markup would hopefully be higher for retail. So what is your Well, I was going to ask what is your retail markup percentage, but I must have forgot to include that poll question. So if you can just type it into the questions tab, I got to assume it's going to be 200 or more, so just type in what your retail order markup is. Yeah, most of your 200. It's almost a standard rule of thumb where you double your cost for retail markup. Some people are at 225, 300, okay. But a lot of 200. So for this exercise, I'm just going to run at 200. Thanks for all of the responses. I do have a poll on hourly rate paid to heat press employee and hourly rate paid to weeding employee. So a lot of people put these up on projectors and have their staff in watching the webinar. So if your staff's in watching the webinar, you don't have to answer this question because I'm sure you don't want everybody to know what each employee gets paid. So how much do you pay to your employee heat pressing? Let's launch that. You can just mark can't answer this question if you don't feel comfortable answering that right now. And once these questions are done, you're going to see how this all falls out on the next tab. All right, 62% have voted, so that's over half. So I'm going to close the poll for speed reasons and share that. So 33% are between 851 and 1249. So just what I thought, I'm going to land it somewhere in between at about $10.50. That's the hourly rate paid to heat press. Why is that important? Because the time it takes to heat press a garment should be calculated into your cost. Last one for right now is, of course, the weeding employee. How much do they get paid? And so the same options. Give it 5 more seconds. All right, and we're going to land on the same exact thing, where we basically see these types of employees are generally making $12.50 or less. So I'm going to put this one in at $10.50 as well, just as a good average. Okay, so now we finally finish that business tab out. So we have we've completed our product names, we've completed our overhead percentage, and all of our business detail. Now it asks you now, save the workbook with your details and proceed to the cost calculator tab, because you don't want to do this all over again. So make sure you save it now, and then you go to the cost calculation tab. Also, if you want to be a real friend and want to help make this better, email your completed worksheet to me, and then I'll start to find industry averages for all of this info, and we'll be able to, under the helpful info tab, we'll be able to help people by giving them industry averages. Okay, so let me go to the cost calculator tab. And we're going to get into this now that we have everything set up. I need to look back at my PowerPoint to make sure I'm staying on the right path here. So we did the average landed cost. We've entered that into the calculator for each product, right? And now we just did our markups, our overhead, and our hourly rates, and we plugged that data into the cost calculator. Now, something I want to share about this calculator, if I go back, we punched in averages, industry averages for weeding times based on a survey that I mentioned before that we launched. We didn't want you to have to guess at weeding times because we know there's designs that are all over the place. We have small designs like this bottom left that's 5 by 8 inches. We have larger designs that are names and numbers that are 12 by 13 inches. You know, and many of you probably get in designs much more detailed than the two I'm showing here. So that's all fine and good. But what we're able to do is come up with a kind of an industry standard for what it takes to weed a design that's 12 by 12 inches or less. And 88% of you that gave feedback on that out of 200 people that responded, actually 175 that responded, said weeding a 12 by 12 design took 3 minutes or less with your particular brand of heat applied film. Likewise, with the heat application, 85% of people that responded said 2 minutes or less to heat apply a single layer onto a garment. So what we did is that in our cost calculation, we instituted a standard that weeding would be calculated at 3 minutes of labor, and heat application would be calculated at 2 minutes per labor. That's per layer, because we know weeding cost doubles if you do 2 colors, because you have to weed each layer. Heat application costs kind of doubles if you have to do 2 layers. I mean, you don't have to load the whole garment on again, but this is kind of a safe calculation to make sure you're accounting for the labor that goes into the process. Now, one of our sales advantages with Premium Plus and advantages to your shop is that it is faster and easier to weed and faster to heat apply than a lot of materials out there. So we did a time study, which will be published on video, of these 2 particular designs. This 5 by 8 inch design with Thermoflex took 1 minute and 45 seconds to weed. With Premium Plus, 51 seconds. This is 2 different weeders, not myself, 2 different folks weeding designs, doing 6 designs each, and we took an average of their total times. It's on video. We did a 12 by 13 design, the name and number. Flex took 1 minute 13, Premium Plus took 53. So that just gives you an idea of some averages. So knowing that you can improve production efficiencies by using Premium Plus, we decided to do a little less of a calculation on the labor in minutes, because we think that you can do them faster than 3 minutes, average designs. So we valued those at 2.5 minutes of labor. Likewise, the heat application, we valued at 1.75 minutes, or 1 minute and 45 seconds of labor instead of 2 minutes. And that's due to the fact that it's a quick 8-second application. It's not a 15 to 20 second application. So let's take that data into the cost calculator. That's already plugged in for you, and I'll show you where that shows up. Basically, what you're going to do is the first thing you're going to enter on this tab is the number of cut designs per garment. So this means if you have a 3-color design, or let's say you have a 2-color design on front, and then maybe like a name or another placement on back of the shirt, you want to put the total number of cut designs per garment. So that includes placements and multiple layers. So for a 2-color front design with a back image, that would be 3 total cut designs for that garment, correct? Then the calculator is going to ask you for the design dimensions for each design. This is going to allow you to do up to 5 placements on a garment, which would be like a 2-color front name, 2-color back name and number, a 2-color front athletic tail would give me 4 placements, and then let's just say a sleeve print for a 5th placement. T-shirts, obviously, they may only have 1 or 2 placements for just a retail T-shirt, but this gives you up to 5 layers to calculate, which makes it a little better than most calculators out there. So let's say this is let's just say this is that designs we just saw, and that the 12 by 13 is my first placement for my name and number on back. And let's just say there's an athletic tail on the front that's maybe like 6 by 10 inches. And let's say the athletic tail is a 2-color, which gives me my 3rd placement. So the athletic tail maybe has a 1/4 inch offset, so it'd be 6 1/4 by 10 1/4 for my other design, for my background layer on the athletic tail. So what that's going to do, it's going to allow me, 1, to calculate the heat press costs and the weeding costs for each layer based on our industry averages. And down here under step 2, it's going to pump out, my heat press cost and my weeding cost for each product that I punch in on the front end on the business info tab. That's complete cost. So it's adding heat press costs for the 3 layers, weeding costs for the 3 layers. It's also using the overhead percentage that we used, the 15% overhead, and adding that based on our production costs and our material costs. Here you have the option to put in the cost of a blank garment. If the customer's bringing in the garment, you leave it at 0. But let's say it's a T-shirt. Somebody type in what they pay for a black T-shirt. $350, $275, $208, $320, $240, a couple $240s, so I'm going to go with $240. Thank you. So I've typed in the cost of my blank and the total number of garments sold for this job. So let's say this group came in and they wanted 24 pieces. Now, everything's complete. Now I just simply review the costing info based on the input data on both tabs. So I can see with Thermoflex, this particular job would cost me $9. Let me grab my highlighter here. Would cost me $9.84 per piece. It breaks it down: material, heat press, weeding, overhead, and the garment cost is the same for everything. Multiplies that by 24 pieces, and it gives me $236.17 to create that job with Thermoflex. Likewise, Hot Market breaks down your material cost, heat press, weeding, overhead, garment, for your total cost per piece and the total per job. Now look at Premium Plus. First thing I want you to notice is the material cost change. You're saving a lot just in material. I mean, of course, this is 3 layers, so it's kind of dramatized, but we're saving maybe about 45 cents per layer, something like that. We're saving the speed and the labor time in the heat press process for each layer. We're saving time on weeding and money on weeding. And then, of course, the overhead you save on, because that's a percentage of your direct costs. If it's a percentage of less money, it's less overhead. Your garment costs will be the same, but I've reduced the cost per piece for this particular job by roughly $2. And so my total job cost is $187.73. So the total job just for a 20-piece order with 3 placements, saving somewhere like $40 to $50. That's profit. You can use that 2 ways. 1, it can be profit that goes back in your pocket, or 2, it can be in the form of an aggressive price structure to your customer over your local competitors. That way you can gain more sales. But a reduced cost is a good thing by any means. And the other thing I want to mention, this isn't a garbage product. The value here is that it's a premium product at this pricing. So you have all that soft feel and those advantages. So you're not compromising quality. You're actually arguably giving the customer better quality in a lower cost, or just taking the margin on yourself. So then after that, it takes this number and it takes your markup percentages, and it gives you a group order price that you may charge per piece, and it gives you a retail order price per piece, depending on what quantity they're ordering. It also gives you a total for the entire job. So something I do want to ask is another poll question, is which number is closest to your break-in quantity for giving a group discount, because I think this would help everybody. So I'm going to launch that. And at what number of pieces do you give a customer a group discount? Obviously, this process is good for 1 garment, so it's tough. If you start getting over 48 pieces, unless it's all personalized, you may just screen print it, but we'll talk about that in a second. But where's your breaks? That way we all know. 63% in, 66% in, so that's pretty good numbers. Let's close it. And I'll share those, and you may want to jot these down, or you can watch the recording later. But you can see that most people are giving a breaking point and qualifying it as a group order somewhere around 12 or 24 pieces. So something else you can do with this calculator, you can enter all the products that your shop uses, or if you want to use Premium Plus to your benefit and make more profit, what I would do is I would try to find out the product your competitor uses. If you think it's Thermoflex Plus, I would keep that as one of the tabs. Then you can find what your competitor is going to charge for that job roughly, and you can make more profit. So on this particular job, I can either choose to sell it for $70 less on a group order, or I can sell it for roughly the same price and make all that much more money, or land somewhere in between and get a little bit of both. So that's all up to you. That's up to your pricing strategy, but this will enable you to do that. Something else I like about this tool, and a way I can see it used, is let's say a group comes in for spirit wear, and they want to buy, they're not quite sure what they want, but they want T-shirts, and they want to get a price just for the school name for some sort of pep rally or something on a shirt, and they want it in white on a black shirt. So I can punch in all these numbers, the size of the design and everything, and get a price that I can sell them that job for on Premium Plus. But ideally, you would have these other fields loaded with materials like glitter or glow-in-the-dark or flock or whatever, and have samples to support your products. Have a glitter sample nearby and say, hey, I can sell you it out of standard film for $281 for your group, or you know what, you can have this glitter effect and it would only cost $350. So it's an effective tool for upselling as well, as long as you have the right products punched in here to reference. So you do need to do some homework putting it all together. Something I will say on the webinar is we're going to email you this. I ask you that you don't share this document on any industry forums or email it to anybody else, because really this is available to those that contributed to creating the calculator. So if somebody wants this document on the helpful info tab, what you can do is you can go down to the bottom and send them this link, the tinyurl.com/transfervinyl. If they fill out a survey and contribute to the data that went to make this tool to make it better on the next version, then as soon as they fill out that survey moving forward, they'll get a copy of the calculator directly from us. But we'd like to have them fill out the survey so we can utilize the info to make the calculator better. I need to jump back to the PowerPoint, but I'm going to stay here for a second and just look down through some questions. Let me drag my questions tab out here and expand it. And let's see what's coming in here other than a bunch of garment costs. The calculator, by the way, will go to everybody that attended the webinar. I'm new. What do you mean by group orders? I think we've quantified that. That's based on, you set a breaking point and it just allows you to generate 2 price levels. When I talk about markup, I mean if your cost to produce something is $2, let's see. Sorry, I'm misreading the question there. I'll get back to that one. The spreadsheet will be emailed to you. Okay. Somebody says, actually, I've never known how to price vinyl. I charge $5 for a full back name and $5 for an 8-inch number, $8 for a name and number. I check with other shops and price checks. I've talked to others that do vinyl. Many of us are in the same boat when it comes to pricing. So yeah, that's definitely, there's no standard out there on pricing material, so hopefully this will help to create that. I think it will be a useful tool. Pre-cut numbers will not be offered in Premium Plus. Right now we can't cut it. It's too thin. Good. I love this comment. I've been weeding the Premium Plus that I cut as I'm listening to the webinar. Really easy, and I love how the extra pieces don't stick to the Mylar. On YouTube, just search for CAD-CUT Premium Plus, and you'll find the video. Washability, we've lab certified it for 50-plus washes on this particular material. So I think a lot of people are digesting. Not as many questions coming in as usually come up. So let's want to go back to the PowerPoint here. Okay. So really what we're trying to do, the whole point between the graphic with the dollar bill and the lock is we're trying to show you how to unlock the profit potential side of Premium Plus with buying direct from the manufacturer and basically saying that you can get this dollar out of the lock and put it back in your pocket. Something else, we did a little funny video where every design we press, Joe actually throws $1 into the trash can, and at the end we say, take this money to the bank by using Premium Plus, and hopefully we made that come to life with this particular job. Now something else I'll do real quick just because there was a question is take a look at how this plays out for a single color design. So let's just say you're doing it 12 by 13 name and number combination and it's a 1 color. You need to change it to a 1 so it doesn't triple your labor. Here's what it would come to. You would have $1.21 in material cost for Premium Plus and the others are closer to $2. Likewise, your total per piece would be about $1 less when you calculate weeding and heat press cost. Okay. Okay, so review of data, time for questions. We've done that. And let's keep going here. Now, we know how this fits in with other heat-applied films. Something I promised you is that we take a look on how this compares to screen printing. So in order to figure out how it compares to screen printing, first we need to know what's all involved with screen printing a garment. For that, I'm going to turn over to a video and walk you through the steps. And then I'll get back to all these questions that are coming in. So, let's see, that's on my desktop. See if I can get back to my desktop from all these documents. Okay. Okay, so this is a comparison that I did for SGIA, which is a trade group. And this particular job, we were comparing screen printing to thermofilm because that's what we had at the time. Thermofilm is still a great product, as we discussed before, for athletic jerseys, but for T-shirt applications, I would move over to Premium Plus. Thanks for the compliment on my daughter on the screensaver there. So I'm talking here, saying a bunch of things. So here's the job. It's a 6-piece job. It's a 2-color design in red and black, and it's a front chest placement. So let's take a look at what's involved to complete that with screen printing. First thing we're going to do is burn the screen. I'm going to wash it out for this particular design. Tape it off. And then here's the printing process, and there should be a time calculation coming in here somewhere that shows the steps. I'll let you watch the process of screening this while I answer some other questions, because I really want to get into the cost difference. Will Premium Plus eventually take the place of another vinyl? I think I've mentioned this on the last session or maybe in the blog post, but I would envision that people would use this instead of sport film light or fashion film in almost every scenario. And also I would envision that they would probably use this instead of super film on a lot of applications. Super film is still the H2O effect that you can't achieve with this, but for a lot of your basic T-shirt and stretch fabric applications, I would envision this being a better choice and certainly a better price. You cannot add rhinestones to Premium Plus as far as what I know. Any heat-applied film, it's tough for rhinestones to stay durable, and somebody on T-shirt forums actually completed a wash and dry test, and I'm pretty sure it failed based on her test. Can it be layered? Absolutely. The bottom color won't shrink because you only tack the bottom layer down for 2 seconds. That's another selling point. I love this stuff. Wish the carrier had a little more stick for the small parts that lift. That's a fair point. If it has any setback, that may be it. But the light tack carrier, we felt like it had a lot of other advantages with the weeding speeds on a lot of average size designs. Yes, you can overlay colors without the first color shrinking. Does it take into account the waste for excess of the 20-inch width? So the cost calculator, as these shirts are finishing up here, I'm going to pause it. The cost calculator has no way to account for waste. It's just basing it based off of square inch pricings. So to assume that there's more waste on 20-inch width over 15-inch width, I think you can't really do that because it all depends on how you're able to gang up your designs and maximize your material. So what I would do is, like on my design dimensions here, where I enter my width and length, if there's waste involved in my width and length, I would incorporate the waist as part of my material usage, because this is calculating based on square inches. So for a 12 by 13 design, if you actually use, let's say, a 20 by 13 piece of material, you need to put that there. But, like we talked about last time, plenty of people would say 20 inches more efficient for them, whereas the other half would say 15 inches more efficient. You just need to make that decision and then proceed accordingly. But the good news is, even on our cost comparison, this was less expensive for a 20-inch wide roll than most people's 15-inch. So if you use 15 inches and waste 5 inches, you're still saving money by using this product. The worksheet isn't unlocked, so you can add extra lines. If you need more options than 5 placements, we can certainly do that, or if you need more names, maybe there'll be a version 2. The fields are locked, the calculated fields. You can't edit currently. I don't really have a problem opening that up. One of the things that I just wanted to make sure was that the Premium Plus brand carried with the calculator wherever it went. So maybe what I'll do is I'll unlock some of the fields where you can change the formulas, but we'll just leave the Premium Plus section in blue. Okay, so I need to get back to my video. There's just a ton of questions now. Okay, so here is the screen printed garment. So basically we burn the screen for each color, which the cost of the screen needs to be amortized over the number of pieces, printed the shirts and fed them through a dryer for this 6-piece run. And you can see the finished results. And now we're going to do the same particular job with heat applied film in the process. And for those of you that don't have a cutter, you cut it and weed it. So here I'm going to cut all my designs out of thermofilm. Premium Plus would be the same. It can be layered with thermofilm as well and other polyurethane-based materials. How many layers are too much? That's up to you because it gets bulletproof after a certain thickness. This is thin, so you can get away with more layers, but it's up to you and your customer. But there's no restrictions on the material and how many layers you can do. But this is just showing you the process for creating that same Bucktown graphic and weeding away the excess. You can add rhinestones around the design. It can be heat pressed more than once. And also it has a flexible temperature, so if the rhinestones heat hotter, it won't hurt anything. Stretchy material, no problem. You can peel this warm or cold. If you try to do like a hot peel like right away, it may work on most colors, but not all colors, so you're safer just giving it 3 to 5 seconds to cool before you peel the backing. No, you can't do the H2O effect. Yeah, basically the Premium Plus, you're getting more and still paying less. That's accurate. Okay, the layers won't separate and peel after a few washes. We did lab certified 2-color applications for 50 laundering cycles as well. Okay, so you can see here we're going to tack the bottom layer, which we already did, and then you just overlay the foreground layer, and then we'll give you a closer view of that 2-color process here on a second shirt. So thermofilm's just like Premium Plus in that you can do a base layer tack for just a couple seconds. So I'm going to preheat the garment. What kind of cover sheet? Good question. You don't have to use a cover sheet if you don't want to with this. You can actually directly iron over top of it. But if you need to use a cover sheet, you can use craft paper or Teflon. So you saw I tack that for 2 seconds. I peel the backing. And then I bring my second color in. And I'll heat press it right on top. Premium Plus comes in 5, 10, 25, and 50-yard rolls, or sheets, 15 by 20-inch sheets as well. So you see I did that second layer for the full 8 seconds and then peeled it, and that's a finished design. And I should Apparently I'm going to show you doing the whole job. I haven't looked at this video in a while, so I want to get up to the, hopefully the cost calculation part of it's in here. Okay, here it is. Okay, so here we had the 6 garments, 2 color designs. So the heat applied film, we had the 36 square inches, which is basically 12 by 3 inches in the black layer. And we did the red, which was a 3 by 3 design, so it was 9 square inches. So the total design was 45 square inches. So, and with the material cost of basically a penny per square inch, that cost me 54 cents to make that 6-piece order. With screen printing, we have our screen setup charge, which gives us a total of $40 for the 2 colors, which basically if you take 40 divided by 6 pieces, you end up at $6.67 per piece. Now, of course, the point here is that there is a breaking point where it makes sense to screen print versus utilize heat-applied film. So the next graphic should be a breakdown that shows you that. Here it is. So with this heat-applied film design, whether it's 1 piece, 12 pieces, or 96 pieces, the cost doesn't change, other than maybe you pick up a little efficiencies with weeding, design after design over and over the same design. But you can see with that screen printing, this job would break somewhere between 84 and 96 pieces, just on cost of material. Of course, you need to calculate labor in, but that was with the thermofilm product. Now with Premium Plus, which is about 30% less than thermofilm for T-shirt applications, there's even going to be a higher breaking point. So the point is, I want you to take another look at where your breaking point is to screen print garments versus use heat-applied film, because I think Premium Plus will make a lot of sense for a lot more applications. Likewise, if you've had the rule to date where on stretch fabrics, a lot of shops only screen print them, I think with this new heat-applied film, it makes total sense to use a heat press for stretch fabrics because it stretches and because it has the low temperature range, so it doesn't give you that heat press box on the image. Also, it only takes 8 seconds to apply, so it's not under the heat for very long. Yeah, and then Shannon makes a good point. He says cotton's going up. So with this particular technology, you can apply to any cotton polyester, or polyester garments. You can get garments with more polyester in them. It's not like direct-to-garment printing where it needs to be mostly cotton or you got to go through the pre-treatment. So Lycra, spandex, all of those garments, no problem at all. Let's see. Got out of my slideshow somewhere here. Okay, so the end result, and I'll stay on and answer questions for about 5 or 10 more minutes, but the potential of Premium Plus, we talked about the features. Basically, we're going to deliver the customer a premium product. We're going to put $1 more per garment back into the bank over other brands of films, and this is going to allow you to reach new markets with a lot of the different types of fabrics and things you can accommodate with the low heat and the adhesion and stretchability. So to order it, you can go to stalls.com/premium-plus. We do have the 15% discount online, and once you accumulate 3 months of order history, we'll prorate it for a year and put you into the trade discount level you qualify for. Also, this is, it's a very clean process. So somebody made the point: don't neglect cleanup chemicals, tapes, reclaiming screens, inks, etc. So it's a very clean process. But I'm going to stay on and answer questions, but thanks for attending. For those of you that need to check out, we ran a little over. The next webinar is June 14th, and you can sign up at greatgarmentgraphics.com. And please order a roll of Premium Plus and try this stuff out. Once again, it's guaranteed or your money back, so there's really no risk. So with that, we'll see most of you later, and I'm going to answer some questions here. When will we know if your tests show this will work on nylon? That's a good question. I was expecting to have those results yesterday, so I do need to follow up. I would think no later than the end of next week, just to have a safe estimation when we can start recommending it for nylon. The cost sheet will come to you by email because we have the list of everybody that attended. So you should get that by tomorrow morning. Let's see. Keep typing them in if you have questions. Shelf life, we haven't really found a shelf life on this particular heat-applied film when it's stored in the right conditions. We will have a list of all the products it can be applied to once we finalize lab testing, but right now we guarantee cotton, polyester, any blend of those two, lycra, spandex. Right condition is basically not extreme cold and low relative humidity, and all that information is on the application instructions for storage and for washing. It is a polyurethane-based material, so yes, it can be safely cut with a laser engraver. It's not PVC, so it's not going to emit any fumes that may damage or void the warranty on the laser. Will this be at the Indy show? There's 2 shows in Indianapolis this weekend. Stahls has a booth at the Spirit Show there in Indianapolis, which I believe shares the convention center. That's where it'll be. The colors are a matte finish. I don't know that they're the same as a Conoprint, but there's 40 colors, so there should be a lot of choices, and you can order a swatch book with your first order. Glitter colors, yes, we now have 8 colors of glitter flake. 8 or 9 colors. We just added light pink and royal blue to the range. So check out the website for the latest products. There's cost savings on all of them by buying direct. Yes, no cover sheet is needed. That's correct. It's okay to use a Teflon pillow since it's a medium pressure. You'll be able to generate that with the pillow in it. If it was a heavy pressure, then that's where you have problems with pillows. Yes, there's a way to get shadowing for names without doing a whole second set and overlaying. I mean, you do need the overlay process, but you'd be able to do what's called trapping. There's a video on that on our YouTube site, and where we show both techniques with thermofilm. That's just youtube.com/CAD-CUT direct. Metallic silver and metallic gold are currently available. And they're pretty nice, like sport-like metallic. It's not like a foil. It's not really possible to give this a shiny result with the Teflon cover sheet. It's definitely a true matte finish, which has been really well received by everybody we showed it to. Samples can be ordered. We have the 15 by 20 inch sheets that go for $2.98 a sheet online, so you can add as many colors as you want, single sheets of each to your card. For those of you that received a sample mailer, there is a special deal on there for the $10 kit, but in order to get the sample mailer, you need to go to stahls.com/pp-sample. There you can fill out this form, and we basically get that here in our office in Pennsylvania, and we send the mailer out the very following day by the Postal Service, and that has a little special deal on it for a little $10 kit. We've applied it at 330 degrees to, well, we're testing it up to 350 to be combined with other processes and materials. Rain and cold weather jackets, I'm not totally sure because sometimes there's waterproof coating, so those are some of the toughest items. I would shy away from that until we come out with our lab certifications where we either say yes or no to those. So you can email me for help after getting the cost sheet, yes. Okay, and so that's all the questions for today. I appreciate everybody taking the time to come on. Please do fill out the survey after the webinar, and please do try Premium Plus and share it with all your friends. Take care.